Hello, 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 hello. How are we doing? Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, Governor. How are we this evening, beautiful people? I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. I hope everyone's locked in and ready to go. We're back for night 4. Holy smokes. Night 4 of Late Nights with Santana. It's our panel discussion, and we are going to go ahead and get it kicked off. Guys, as we get ready to start the live, if you don't mind, please tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will boost the live, help push us out to the FYP. Also, I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goal to these little 1-cent gift goals that'll help boost the live as well. And share the lives, guys. Share maybe the live like once or twice, but repost the live. Reposting the live helps a ton. We are going to go ahead and get started here. And you guys know how we do.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. No highlight reel, just the soul's reflection. No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear. But you find us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in, welcome in. Tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no frontin'. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, it's a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no frontin'. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights.
Hey, welcome in, guys. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome back. This is Late Nights with Santana. And guys, this is night 4 of our panel discussion. And if you have not had the opportunity to get up here, then go ahead and get in the box. We're gonna start bringing people in just a moment. So if you have not had the opportunity to join this panel discussion, please, please, please get in the box. We have had a wonderful conversation this week, and we have learned a lot about the topic. Do you see color? We have been talking about race, ethnicity, nationality. We've also been talking about white supremacy then and now. We have started talking about the growing and shrinking racial demographics. And last but not least, guys, this evening, tonight, we are going to be talking about dismantling race. That is going to be the focal point of the conversation for this evening. So if you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and get in the request. We will start bringing people in just a moment. But guys, as we get ready to bring people up, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It'll boost live and push us out to the FYP. And I am going to continue to reset this daily gift goal to these little 1 cent gift goals. If we can knock those out a couple of times, that'll help boost the live as well. Swan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Santana. How are you?
Good, good, good. Swan, can you tell the people, what are you looking forward to this evening?
I think I'm looking forward to people having a better understanding of.
Not the cliffhanger. Next time on Dragon Ball Swan. Guys, keep tapping the screen, share the live. I'm sure Swan got like a call or something, and she'll be right back. She'll be right back. She'll be right back. Keep tapping the screen, share the live. Also, guys, like I said, go ahead and get in the box. If you are interested in actually joining the conversation, go ahead and request up as soon as Swan phone probably overheated. I'm willing to bet it overheated. I'm willing to. There we go.
Sorry, I ended up getting a phone call,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think I'm looking forward to people having like just like a baseline understanding of terms and what those terms mean, and then in addition to that, I think hopefully people are starting to think about the ways in which they could benefit from educating themselves on these things, right? And I really think that people need to reflect on like their own perspective and at the very least educate themselves on themselves and then pay attention and become reflective of their actions pertaining to race and racism at the start. Hopefully it continues, but I would say that that's the goal for, I think, things overall.
Yeah, no. I think that's an excellent point, and I'm hoping that I'm really hoping that this week has gave a lot of people time to think about like how they I don't want to say that people don't know things, but I will say that this week gave us like a massive opening, and it really opened a lot of people up to blind spots that they didn't necessarily know that they had. And so it's just been a great week of actually diving into that. And then I'm hoping they take everything that they've learned this week and then put it to better use, meaning they take what they've learned and then actually go do the work themselves, right? More research, more reading, more understanding, and just grow from there. That's what I'm hoping, Swan.
Absolutely. I think we saw a glimpse of that last night with I'm gonna keep shouting her out, Just Jordan, when she was on the panel, and she had kind of made connections between deconstructing religion and then also deconstructing racism, because there are ties there, and then also name dropping the literature. That was impressive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start bringing people in. So, guys, as we bring you in, please, please, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself as we get you in on the panel. Please, please, please mute yourself, and we will go around the horn and get some introductions. Also, guys, if you are one of the people that have not had the opportunity to join the conversation yet this week, go ahead and get in the box. I would love, love, love to get some new people in here so we can ensure that we are getting people in who have not had the opportunity to actually speak yet. So make sure that if you are someone that has not gotten the opportunity to join the conversation just yet, go ahead and get in the request. I'm going to rotate people in and out. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and start rotating people in and out. But again, if you don't mind, keep tapping the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will boost the live and push us out to the FYP. All right. Quick introductions. Let's start here with Is it Professor or Professor? Professor, what can I
It's
call
my
you?
last name. It's Professor Tajuba.
Tajuba.
So best way to remember it. I played the tuba in college, so tuba Tajuba.
Tuba Tajuba.
Um,
I'm gonna mess it up. Can I
yes,
call you Professor?
yeah, that's
Okay,
cool.
I'm gonna call you Professor. Professor, how are you this evening?
I'm good. I had a pretty interesting day, but it is, I'm here.
Absolutely, I understand that one. Professor, can you tell the people what is your race? And I'm sorry, what is your race? Have you been able to take any way away? Sorry, have you been able to take anything away from this topic this week? And last but not least, what is the most important thing that you want to make sure that you cover this evening?
So I'm black, and I feel like because I've been coming on this whole entire week, to this live in particular, and I've just been really enjoying the conversation. This is my first time actually coming up, so
Hey.
um, what I do want to do is I am, as someone who has worked in the DEI space in higher education, and also I am also a former historian with national parks, so I would love to be able to contribute today.
Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. One moment. Hey, the real therapist. How are you?
Good evening, Santana. How you doing? I'm okay.
Good. Good. Can you tell the people what is your race? What I'm sorry. What is your race? What are you looking to add to the conversation this evening? And what have you learned or taken away from the conversation this week?
Hi everyone. I'm black, blackity black, 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 mixed with some more black. Happy end of Black History Month, everyone. I've been enjoying this conversation. This is very important. And I just want to say really quickly, reasons why these conversations are important. I made a video this week talking about the BAFTAs and what happened with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. Somebody came under my comment section and said, if a word can hurt you that much, you're a weak person.
Interesting.
This is why race conversations are important.
Okay. Okay. What did you want to make sure that you cover this evening in this conversation?
I want people to feel a little bit more knowledgeable. I want people to feel a little bit more empowered. I want people to also feel like they have a safe space and a sense of community and a place to go to have conversations where you can learn, have shared experiences, and feel heard and seen.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. One moment here. Daniel, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
All right, Daniel, can you tell the people what is your race? What have you learned from this week? And what are you most looking forward to adding tonight to the conversation?
Yeah. Thank you once again for having me. I'm proud Black American. And what was the other thing?
What have you learned from the conversation this week? And then what are you looking forward to adding this evening?
Oh yeah, I've seen your conversations and your topics here or there. I do like a lot of discussions within the Black diaspora, and we regrouping and talking about the issues though. So I like that fact. And I would say what I have learned like over the past week or so is still just reading the atmosphere of Black people and just knowing who we are and what we're fighting for and what we should be thriving towards. And regardless if I may disagree with my brothers and sisters, I'm still trying to find a common ground on can we get to the promised land. So that's what I've learned throughout the week. And what I also want to add more to the conversation is I feel like Black people, we should gatekeep and we should focus on ourselves and be selfish in this day and age. And we should not try to help other people out with their problems. We should let other people sort their issues out, and we should be just together and regroup with ourselves and liberate our own self. Because what I fight for, I only care about Black liberation only. and I make no apologies for that. So that's what I want to add to this conversation.
And wait, so have you been watching this stream for this entire week?
Not the whole week, no.
How much of this stream have you watched?
Just I would say just 2 days, like at
Which 2
most, and
days?
just yeah. hmm
Which 2 days?
My time is kind of I'm not really good. Maybe earlier this month, like I just see you here or there just dialoguing with a lot of people. So,
Right, but
and
what
I've been trying to come,
specifically with
huh?
this topic like that we've been dealing with for these 4 nights, have you actually watched any of this topic for this week?
Not for this week, no.
Okay. Okay.
What
What
should
do you
I
think this topic is about?
is um because you got you got all the stuff at the top. I thought we were going to be addressing a lot of those. Like, are we addressing the ones at the top tonight?
Yeah, kind of. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it really funky with you for a second. So while I am absolutely pro-black, absolutely, I want to see everyone black win. Period. But but there is nothing about this conversation nor my space that is exclusive as far as only catering to just black people. This is a very inclusive community, a very inclusive space. And while we are talking about dismantling white supremacy, dismantling race, we're not talking about, excluding and closing in or saying that other people, why we shouldn't care for other people. Like again, if you've seen me, then you know for a fact that I care about everyone in my community, not just the black people in my community. So I don't know, like what exactly with the conversation, but like that's not what we're doing here. I mean, that's the conversation you're hoping for. I mean, we might just need to drop you down, but that's not the conversation we're having. Also, shout out in the chat for Noah. I do wanna call out a quick quote from my favorite op Noah, who said, he don't care about black liberation. He is anti-black AF. Are you anti-black AF?
Are you asking me that question?
Mm-hmm.
No, no, I'm not anti-black. Like what I post on my account and what I do fight for is just like it speaks for itself too. I think people say I'm anti-black because I don't try to group other people into our struggle, and I make that very clear in a lot of the panels I go on. And you can drop me too, because I try to still get other perspectives from black people to work.
Say less. Say less. Say less. Nerdy, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Nerdy, can you tell the people what is your race? What have you learned from the conversation this week, and what are you looking forward to adding to the conversation this evening?
Well, I am a black biracial person. I know everyone's looking at my picture like, what? I am I'll be honest, I haven't been around for the whole conversation. I've came in and out because I had class during the times that you were live and stuff like that, and doing homework and stuff. So but I love education. I love learning, and I love hearing other people's perspectives. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we will be rotating people in and out, adding additional people to the conversation. So if you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and get in the box. Like I said, I will be rotating people in and out as much as possible so we can ensure that we do our best to have a wonderful, fruitful conversation. I want to start here for a second, right? I want to start here for a second. While I usually do my opening salvo, talking about how we are a safe and friendly community, and I will get into that because I think that's important. Um, I think it's harmful to get to a point where we're talking about being exclusive or isolationist. And I think being isolationist in any sense is a negative thing. And for anyone who may enjoy their time in my space, enjoy their time in like in our space, in our community, while I am a Black man first, without question, and I am absolutely pro-Black. I will always want Black people to achieve at every level, at the highest level. I am never going to be someone that's going to say that if you are someone that is not trying to work for the betterment of people, then I'm going to exclude you. Like if you're looking to better people in society and community as a whole, we can figure it out. If you're looking to dismantle racism, sexism, classism, any type of bigotry, the phobias, any of those things, we can work this out together. And I'm not exactly sure what that was or what that person thought this was, but it ain't that. Also, make sure that you guys, if you are requesting up, I really appreciate you guys if you are requesting up, but if you come up, please make sure you read the room. Like I'm just gonna be, Kay said this nicely earlier, and I'm just gonna say it since I'm gonna say it now. Don't join the panel and have a conversation that we're not having. Like, don't, if you're coming up to talk about something that has nothing to do with the background, then this isn't the conversation for you. Especially because not only have we been trying to build all week as far as the conversation, but I specifically reached out to Swan and I said, hey, can you help me with this weekend? For anyone to come up and have a completely either irrelevant or separate conversation than something that we already had planned, that is not only disrespecting the community as a whole, but disrespecting the time that other people have put into this. So be mindful, be respectful, be aware. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. Quick and friendly reminder for the people on the panel: please, please, please use TikTok friendly language. What does that mean? That means using words like pew pew, unalive, C19, mustache man. That also means that using those type of words will not only protect your TikTok, but it will protect the live and allow us to continue to have this conversation. Also, guys, this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means we don't deal with any of the isms: racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias: homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't do that on the panel nor in the chat. And speaking of the chat, guys, please, please, please be mindful. Caps are for mods. Caps are for mods. So if you are in the comments, please do not use caps because it will draw my attention away from the panel and down to the chat. And we want to make sure that we are focusing on the conversation. But I need you guys to be active participants, right? Tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will boost the live and help push us out to the FYP. And I'm going to keep resetting these daily gift goals to these little 1-cent gift goals that will help boost the live as well. Last but not least, guys, if you enjoy what we do here in our community, if you enjoy our space, if you want to keep this thing going, please, please, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. And guys, also make sure we're taking care of Swan. Swan is here with us this evening, and we want to make sure that we are showing her all the love in the world. Her pay links are running in the poll in the bio, so make sure that we are showing her some love. So guys, the biggest focus that we want to actually deal with this evening is going to be dismantling race. I think that's super important. I think that it's something that honestly I don't have the answer for. I literally don't have the answer as far as how we achieve such a monumental task. But I'm willing to put my faith in Swan. So, with that being said, Swan, I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to let you guide this one. Which way would you like to take this conversation?
So the focus is on dismantling race, right? I would say that I think what has to happen is a reflection of a person's actions, of their knowledge that they've had in the past, and then also understanding what knowledge they need to seek out. Sorry. Educating yourself is a huge, like, that's the baseline. Like, if you are not willing to seek out new information, then you are not going to be successful when it comes to your deconstructing journey, right? I also think that for me personally, you have to take accountability and take initiative to go through this process. I will never force somebody into deconstructing, right? If you're going to be harmful and if you're going to choose to remain harmful or to remain ignorant to certain things, then you just don't get a seat at my table. I don't think that it's worth it to have to convince somebody of this. This is very much so a personal journey. You have to be the one that wants to do this. So I think that that's really important. But also throughout that journey, you're going to learn that you have to take accountability for your actions. We know when people start to get uncomfortable, they start to other themselves, right? Or they start to deflect or they start to project. And that's not going to get you anywhere. You've got to be able to work through those feelings, right? So really like self-reflection and accountability is huge. Education. And I think that once you address yourself and you continuously do that, then it's going to make your process easier in terms of understanding like how like shifting from looking outside of yourself or in addition to looking within, you're paying attention to these systems and how these systems function and how these systems harm everyone. And yes, I said everyone. Now, the process is different for white people because they benefit. Their material conditions will never be negatively impacted because of racism, but racism does backfire onto white people. And we don't talk about that often, but I do think it's something that we should shed some light on. But yeah, I will say that for now.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree, and I know you said you would save that for now, but I would love actually if you went into that a little bit because I think that's something that's not talked about enough. Because
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you don't, I will, because I think that's actually something that a lot of people don't understand, and I think that may actually be something that's a catalyst, right? Because we understand like so many people are kind of selfish, for lack of better words, right? And they don't see the need for any type of change unless something is negatively impacting them or if they can get something out of it. And I think when you start talking about like how people are being impacted when it comes to their pockets due directly to racism, then I think people their ears really open up.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go into that. So it's kind of like how patriarchy can backfire onto men, right? Or misogyny, like those types of things can backfire onto men. When we talk about racism, it is something that, when it comes to material conditions, does benefit white people overall as a whole. There's never going to be anything that they are going to have to worry about, any issues or hurdles, at least in their life, that they're going to have to deal with when it comes to their race. But the problem with that is that we are living simultaneously with a group of people that benefits from our oppression, may be aware of them benefiting from our oppression, but they are content with benefiting from our oppression, meaning they don't have the ability to see the humanity in the people whose oppression that they are benefiting from. And if you cannot see the humanity of the people around you, that means that you lack the ability to see the humanity within yourself. And this is why when we talk about racism and white supremacy, you do have, people who are like, I'm reading, I'm educating myself, I'm doing these things. But have you ever tried to have a deeper discussion about a white person understanding what it takes to lose your privilege? That garners a very different response, right? Because this is how a group of people has been functioning for so long. Having to contend with that is not something that many white people have to reflect on or think about, right? And a lot of times, I'll say 9 times out of 10, the response can become quite vicious. It can, but this is something that uh, white people haven't necessarily been challenged to think about. This is one of my topics in my space. White men need white supremacy in order to survive. And a lot of times they come up very, very triggered. And I'll ask them, well, can you demonstrate a time period as to when white men didn't need white supremacy? Can you demonstrate a time period as to when any progression that we had when it comes to racial equity was able to just stand still on its own? You can't. Right. One example of that today would be the fact that Black women DEIA practices have been removed and things like that because of this administration. And we've seen that Black women, who is the most college educated demographic here in the United States, over 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs. This has caused a financial loss within the Black community that's in the billions, but you don't hear people talking about it. Right. And they're not going to talk about it. Even if they disagree with it, they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to advocate for it because there's a little bit of comfort in there, knowing that, oh, well, white people aren't affected. It is what it is, you know? And there's a content with this being the status quo. Well, why isn't that racial equity and progression? Why would that not why would that not have just been left alone, right? It was targeted. These decisions were targeted. If Black women are the most college educated demographic in the United States, then we should be seeing that reflected within our job market when it comes to them having the qualifications or having more than what's necessary for qualifications, including how we're getting paid as well. But we don't see that happening, right? What did they do? They tore it down. Black women earned this. We earned it. We earned it, right? While being at our intersection within society. And it was taken away. Why? Because it's a threat to whiteness.
Well said, Swan. I think even more than that, it's not only was it earned, but it's something that has been disrespected. It's something that has been downgraded. It's something that has been told that it's like Black women are not the ones that are really truly achieving these things. It's something that people are pretending as if they haven't been the ones that have moved society forward in multiple ways. Professor, I want to come to you because you specifically brought up DEIA and you talked about it throughout your profession, but I would love to also hear how the attack on that within the society that we live in is literally sitting here saying that not only you but the work that you do is not up to par. It's not something that's needed, and it's something that's literally just based off of preferential treatment instead of merit, right? Which, if we can get to the premise of dismantling race, then we can get to the principle of merits. But I would love to hear you talk about that.
Thank you. So I would say first and foremost, Swan, that was excellent, and an excellent start, because the first thing I thought about when she was speaking was Heather McGhee's The Sum of Us, and how in her book she talks about and discusses about how it is a zero-sum racial thinking that reduces the investment in schools, healthcare, and infrastructure that does affect um, white folks when it comes to a lot of things that come with dismantling racism and dismantling race. But coming from a higher education perspective and a higher education student affairs perspective, it is something that I would say a lot of student affairs professionals have been screaming about for years. I I've been I was in student affairs for about 15 years, and I've worked all across the country. I've moved about 15 times, working at different universities across the nation. And one of the things that we have started to see is that as soon as as soon as the Moms for Liberty, the state of Florida, and other states like Texas successfully made state legislation against the DEIA movement within the higher education context and within the K through 12 context, based on a lie, we started seeing a lot of those offices being taken away, and a lot of offices, a lot of people, um, just a lot of things happening that were just there. A lot of my colleagues, including myself, lost our jobs. So we were, some folks had a grace period of a year. Some people were let go effective immediately. Some of the other things that I would say that happened was it affects students, for that. And I could say this on a personal level. So I'm originally from Kansas. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I am a proud graduate of Kansas State University. And when I went to school at Kansas State in the early 2000s, there's this thing in the Big 12 Conference called the Big 12 Conference on Black Student Governments. And what that conference does is that every Big 12 school has a BSU, or a BSA or a Black Student Government, and we all get together 4 times a year to just kind of discuss, have fun, step show, do all party, do what college kids do. But we also talk about the things that affect us when it comes to the policies of the states that we're living in, of the universities that we're living in, and doing all of that stuff. And when I was at K State, we were out of the Big 12, and this is when Texas was in the Big 12 and OU was in the Big 12. We were the least funded school compared to everyone else. And we ended up winning in order for us to even get the funding from our university, not even from the state, but from our university for them to acknowledge us. It was, we had to win the Big 12 most outstanding council for like 12 years straight in order for us to even get it. We didn't even have like a Black cultural, like a student cultural center where we could all, where Black and brown students could go to meet and talk about stuff and discuss and just have a safe space. Like, we had to create those spaces in our student union, in the library, and in other spaces. And just like a second ago, there's another creator here who's a classmate of mine. He plays the saxophone. He's one of the saxophone players here, and he was playing at K State, and he was like playing. They were doing their BSU thing, and he was like, "Yo, this was your program that you planned 20 years ago. Like, you started this program. We're continuing this program because this is the program that you have done." And those are the kind of things that have happened. But then, as soon as that program went viral here on TikTok, there was a state legislator man in the state of Kansas that was on the news having a press conference over the fact that these students raising the funds, getting the approval, doing all these things from the university, that the university needs to lose their funding because there's this Black Student Union program that's been going on for 20 years. And those are the things that ends up happening because people think that it's just that these things are affecting white folks in a negative manner, when it's like, no, that's not what DEI does. DEI really does help
DEIA.
folks. DEIA helps everyone. And it asks questions that people don't think about. And when at another university I worked at the University of Kentucky. One of the spaces and one of the people who a group of people who I helped out the most were actually white people from Appalachia.
Mm.
All the time. Every grant program, I ran a $250,000 grant program, and most of my recipients were white people from Appalachia who needed the extra funds and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? Like I think a lot of people that's missed on a lot of people, right? And I think that even more so, the way the propaganda has been created to create that divide, even within, like I know we've talked a lot. Excuse me. I know we've talked a lot about like white supremacy, and we talked about the difference in, like, the races and all this other stuff, but I think something that's truly missed for a lot of people is the impacts that like white supremacy, racism, all have on those who are part of the have-nots, and even more so, the way that those people who don't benefit from being racist or engaging in white supremacy, the way that they are just overwhelmingly harming themselves. And I think that's a perfect example, because you think about the people that come from Appalachia, and like those are the people that should be actively engaging in things such as DEIA. But Swan, I see you had your hand up in the chat.
Yeah, sorry, I was chewing again. Hold on.
Guys, while Swan finishes chewing, if you would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. If you enjoy what we do here, if you enjoy late nights, please consider donating. Or you can send a super chat, just like Sean. Sean sent a $5 super chat. Say, once again, the glorious leader couldn't take an occasion to not poop on other veterans. The Medal of Honor is sacred. Absolutely, Sean. I think he was talking about from the State of the Union last night. Holy smokes, I spaced on it. But W's in the chat for Sean. W's in the chat. Thank you for supporting the live and what we do here on late nights. Thank you, Sean. Swan, you good?
Yeah, so I think one interesting point to bring up is I had, before he got into office, I was doing a topic that said DEIA. If you're against DEIA, then you are homophobic, transphobic, you are ableist, you are misogynistic, you're against veterans. Like, that was like the list. And people were very offended by that topic. And I didn't realize how angry it would make people. But I found out after the fact that during that time period, while he was campaigning, y'all know who I'm talking about when I say him, Trump, the Republicans, they spent 200, and this is only what could be tracked. Now, know that there's a lot of money that does move around behind the scenes that can't be tracked, right? But what could be tracked was $215 million being spent on anti-DEIA propaganda. Now, here's the problem with that. People fell for that, right? But they never did their research into what DEIA actually was and how it truly benefited all people, like Professor said. You could be a cis-het white Christian man who is wealthy, right? At the top of a company. If DEIA is implemented within your company and facilitated correctly, your entire company is going to improve because the work conditions are going to improve. It's going to improve the environment for everyone, right? When you have sensitivity trainings, or you have options for people that may have a disability that need a specific or a certain type of accommodation, right? They rob themselves of this. And this is what I say when I mean that racism and white supremacy does backfire onto people, because they believe the propaganda. Why? Because it was the belief, we've been conditioned from day one, right, to think that people who belong to marginalized communities are just inherently less than. So when I would have these discussions with people, after they gave their argument, the very first thing I would say is, have you ever done any research and looked into what DEIA is and how it works? Every single person that disagreed with the topic said no. They never researched it, but they did take in that propaganda. And what they don't realize is that some of them literally chose to remove themselves and to worsen the experiences that they are going to have within the workplace. And they had no clue. No clue at all. But yeah, I think what you said about DEIA is very important. It did benefit white people the most in many aspects. And not to say that it's because we have to also understand the nuance of that being something that was implemented to mitigate discrimination towards people who are marginalized. This isn't something that was implemented to end racism. So we're still working within that structure, but it did truly benefit it did benefit everyone. And if you think about what we were dealing with before that, that was nepotism, white supremacy, patriarchy going unchecked, right? Completely going unchecked, and that negatively impacting those who are marginalized, and people who are marginalized not even seeing those opportunities coming into their communities, which is a problem. Because a lot of times, and this is my hot take, in my opinion, I think that people who belong to a marginalized community we're qualified always, but in some ways I think that we are more qualified because of the adversity and the resilience that it takes to get to the levels that we get to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Swan, you brought up something absolutely excellent that kind of ties into the affirmative action cases that the Supreme Court made their decision on a few years ago, but also kind of looking at it when it comes to like admissions, because that's the thing that they used it as. It's like, oh, they're just doing these admissions and stuff. But while they were looking at that, especially at these elite universities, they weren't looking at legacy admissions. They weren't looking at, and when we say legacy admissions, we mean, did your mom, did your dad, did your grandparents go to this school? And that sort of stuff, because a lot of universities will take that into account on your admissions, asking you like, did your parents go to this school? Did your grandparents go to this school? Did your aunts go to this school? Or people who donate stuff. So when we look at like the current president's family, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, it's been very much it's very well known that he did not have the grades to get into Harvard at all. But if you go and look at the building that's named after his dad, who is the current French ambassador to France, that's how he got in, because the fact of the matter was that his parents donated a ton of money to that space and being able to do that. And I think that's something that no one takes into account as something that's a very anti-DEIA space within the higher ed space. And it affects everyone.
Yeah. I think that understanding the need for progression and growth for all people is something that a lot of people don't have the emotional intelligence to deal with. I think that's what it really boils down to, because if you if you can't see what it means to actually be able to help the people, and I always say you want to help the people that is the least amongst us, because if you can help the people that's the least amongst us, then everyone else in turn is going to get a lift as well. And so you want to address those discrepancies that exist within our society, and it's literally an opportunity to improve society as a whole. But people tend to think that when you do that, it's taking from versus adding to, which is not true. All right, two quick things. First and foremost, W's in the chat for Amy. Amy sent a $10 donation saying, you're doing such important work. Thank you. There was a time where white folks, rather than desegregate, where white folks would rather desegregate, missed out on public schools, had them filled in and shut down instead of shut them. And I know this is me. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take a minute. I gotta collect myself. W's in chat for Amy. Amy, thank you so much for the $10 donation, saying you're doing such important work. Thank you. There was a time where white folks, rather than desegregating, missed out on public pools, had them filled in and shut down instead. Shaking my head. Another example of hurting themselves for the sake of white supremacy. Amy, you are absolutely 100% right, guys. Massive W's in the chat for Amy. Massive W's in the chat for Amy. Thank you so much for that $10 donation. And I literally had to do about 5 to 10 double takes. For the rest of the live, I want to see just a million W's in the chat for BC 3713. BC 3713 sent a $500 YouTube super chat. Whoa. A $500 YouTube super chat, and said, if you can't see color, how do you see stoplights? If you can't respect those colors, then you clearly can't, and then you clearly can, if you can respect those colors, then you can clearly respect JK. We failed Reconstruction so hard. So many laws were passed since then to continue and worsen things since 1860. We skipped the history in school and just jumped to MLK. Now everything is supposed to be fine. WTF, man. BC, first and foremost, like, whoa. Thank you so much. I am just like insanely blown away, insanely humbled. Like the that support, I'm so undeserving of that type of support, but I promise you that what you're doing is going to go to some great use to make sure that we are able to continue what we do here and continue to support each other within our community. So massive freak of W's in the chat for BC, and even more so, that's a great point. One thing that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about enough, and I know this is going to have to be something that we have to circle back around to, is the lack of having that history and knowledge for Black people, and the fact that there's so many different things. Think about this. Let's be honest for a second. Think about the amount of information that we have learned on just TikTok versus what we learned in school, or the internet versus what we learned in school. I know personally for myself, like, I've done more learning outside of school than I actually did while in school, and I have like multiple degrees, right? But the actual, not only history that I've been able to find and learn and grow from, it's absolutely amazing what they don't teach us. And so I think that's a great point. And the fact that the history isn't taught the way that it should be allows the injustices to continue to progress. So I'm sorry, guys, for stumbling over my words. I'm sorry for monologuing, but like that just completely threw me through a loop. I'm trying to get myself together. I apologize. Swan, I'm gonna throw it back to you. I'm sorry.
No apologies. First of all, let me just say that that's deserved. Okay, that is deserved. It is. It is. I know you don't want to say it, but I'm gonna just say it is deserved. And I think it really speaks to the ways in which people are impacted by these things. Like it truly does impact everyone. I'm also ecstatic that we have Professor up here, being someone who was a historian, and then also what BC said within that super chat. That is something that a lot of people don't understand, is that like knowing how racism functions doesn't only pertain to like just knowing the definition and then knowing the terms and understanding the terms, but you do need to know your history, right? For example, with the doll test that was done originally back in the 1940s, right? We know that when the doll test was done, the overall like information that was put out, and this was the results of the doll test was used in the 1954 landmark case that desegregated schools here in the United States, Brown versus Board of Education. People don't know that they're within those results, and shout out to Black Cabinet for this, for educating us on this. But within those results, it wasn't just that children from all demographics, right, unanimously said, okay, these positive attributes pertain to the white dolls and the negative attributes pertain to the Black dolls. But they were Black children who had been educated on racism, whose parents were active when it came to building their confidence and their resilience, living in a world, right, where that's going to be pushed back against, right, because of how we're portrayed in the media. And those children, this part of the results was left out. Those children who had that confidence and resilience that stemmed from what they were getting from their parents at home, and knowing that their Blackness is not just tied to negativity, they responded differently to the topics, right? But that wasn't included in the like the original outcome. I think we discuss it more like now, but way back then it wasn't included. And the decision was made to really like benefit and cater to the emotions of white children, and many other things. But that historical fact that gets erased is so important, and I don't think that people understand like what BC said within that the super chat. That's something that people need to be looking into. So understanding how this is impacting us socially, politically, and economically today, that has to also align with knowing our history and knowing the truth about our history, if that makes sense. And not just what we learned in school, because it doesn't even come anywhere near the truth or reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I want to pass it to the real therapist. The real therapist, I want to give you the floor. I would love to hear your take on this as well. Not only the erasure of Black history, but the way that race has been amplified through upholding whiteness, and the negative impacts that it has on not just, the people who are specifically targeted with that racism, but the people that are negatively impacted because of that racism.
Yeah, I quickly want to toss in there. I'm glad you said something about the doll test. I'm actually using that as the basis for my doctoral dissertation. Because I don't think that that's yeah. I actually just chose that as a topic this semester to work with the doll test. There's a documentary on Netflix right now about the Black Barbie, and they redid the doll test. Being that this day and age they have Barbie has come a long way. Barbie has a job now. She has different professional careers. She has different skin tones, different hair textures, and they recreated the doll test using these different shades of Barbies. And it was a good bit of the kids that they showed on this Netflix documentary, which I think Shonda Rhimes helped produce, that showed the children that were more educated, that were more empowered from their upbringing, that were able to choose the dolls that look like them. And I think that that is important to show, because when people feel more empowered, when people have knowledge of themselves, when people feel like they can be proud of who they are and they know who they are, they can walk around the world feeling a little bit more pride for themselves and a little bit more confident, and gives them also the ability to advocate for others in their situation, have a little bit more empathy. And you can see our own people when they have like a lack of knowledge of self, when they don't know who they are, where they come from, that puts them in predicaments where they are seeking white approval, where they have more of a tendency to want to have that proximity to whiteness, because they feel like, going back to that doll test, because whiteness represents good, whiteness represents wealth, whiteness represents the beauty standards. And that's what happens when you don't have a knowledge of self. And they kind of do this sometimes unintentionally, because that they're kind of buying into European standards and buying into a culture that was kind of like projected onto us, because they haven't learned anything different. I thank my parents for my cultural competence at an early age. I
So,
probably wouldn't recommend it for most people, but my parents showed us roots when we were like 6, 7 years old,
mm,
because they
so
knew
let
the
me
schools weren't
what.
going to teach us the truth.
So let me
Hmm.
let me ask you this, because I really want to make sure that we drill home this point, and I think that you hit a lot of great points. But like knowing what you know, because to your point, you have a deeper level of understanding and a deeper level of, it seems like, purpose that was instilled in you from your parents. How do
Hmm.
we use that to reshape what we're currently dealing with within society? I mean, this may be something that's not necessarily attainable within our lifetime, right? Speaking realistic, but the premise of race is based off of a concept that's not real, right? The separation of people via the premise of race, it's not real, but it's real based off of us making this reality. So how do we start to target the actual quote unquote social construct in order uh to limit the range, access, and power that race has given white supremacy and upholding whiteness? Like, how do we start to attack that?
Awareness is one of the first things. Like you said, knowledge of things. A lot of people are learning things, like you said, through social media, that they weren't getting from school, that they're not getting in the textbooks. The public school system has nothing in the curriculum that is designed to teach you cultural competence. There's nothing in there that's designed to help you learn about yourself and who you are. And so if we're not getting these foundations from our home, we're not getting these from school, where can we get it from? And I feel like the people who may have the knowledge, although it's a tall order and it's a big weight to put on the shoulders for those who have access to this information and who have been privy to this type of knowledge. But I would like to encourage you to at least try to advocate, try to do what you can to make people aware. You don't have to have a social media platform. You don't have to run a social group. Sometimes it's like telling the friend that's right next to you that may be culturally incompetent to something, that may be ignorant to something, that might have a lack of understanding of something, like a each one teach one. But sometimes we get into this mode of selfishness and we want to gatekeep information, and that's not being helpful, because other cultures and other communities, they're not gatekeeping information like that. And if we're gatekeeping it, we don't have any other avenues of resources to get this information. And so I want us to get out of that mindset of scarcity and think more community based. And like I said, you don't have to feel like you're going outside with a picket sign and a sign to tell the world all of this information, but it can start with the family that you build yourself. It can start with your spouse, your children, your friends, your family, your church group, your job, your coworkers, going to therapy, finding a culturally competent therapist. It can start right there where you are. And again, each one teach one, just a little bit of information spread to somebody with your own knowledge and sharing what you know, because more people are open to it than you know.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that that I agree, and that's why it's so important to not only know our history, to know the actual, have a deeper understanding of like how this or why, the why behind the construct, and how it's been weaponized and how it exists today. That actual knowledge and competency allows us to directly attack that, and we can start within our homes by teaching not only our family, our children, but those people around us, and making sure that everyone's on one accord as far as what they're doing. All right, the real therapist and professor, I'm going to swap both of you out just because I want to make sure that we try to get as many people as we can in, since this is the last night. But thank you both for coming up. I really appreciate you, and I'm gonna swap both of you out. Okay.
Thank you, Santana.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, keep tapping the screen if you don't mind. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to, we're at what, 63,000 likes? Let's get the likes up to 100,000 likes. Please, please, please tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. Also, W's in the chat for Michelle. Michelle sent a $10 donation and just sent some hearts. Michelle, thank you so much for that $10 donation. W's in the chat for Michelle. W's in the chat for Michelle. Thank you, guys. If anyone else like to support the live, if you enjoy what we're doing here, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links and Linktree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. Guys, please, please, please make sure we are taking care of Swan, because Swan is here and Swan is doing the heavy lifting. So please, please, please make sure that we are taking care of Swan. Give Swan a follow. Let's make sure we're gifting Swan and just really appreciating her for the amount of knowledge she is bringing this evening. Only request up if you are ready to join this conversation, because we are making sure that we are directly dealing with the issue, which is dismantling race. All right, I want to come to Nerdy, and then Brendan, and Solid, and then Dennis. But Nerdy, coming to you. You are in an interesting situation, to say the least, because you are a biracial person and you have had to live your life understanding the duality of balancing the different race of your mother and your father. What would it look like for you, or what do you think it would look like if there was a situation where we could start to attack not only the construct of race, but dismantling the need to uphold whiteness through white supremacy? How do you think that would directly affect not only you, but one of the largest demographics that's growing in our country, biracial people?
That's a great question. Honestly, I gotta think about that. Can you say that again, please? Because
how can, if we start to dismantle and attack the construct of race, what effects do you think that would have on people who are biracial?
Okay, so I don't know, because it's hard to say, because I feel like this isn't just a biracial problem of feeling excluded from a particular demographic. Like, I think even monoracially people feel the same way. So I would say that it might. Can you come back to me? Because I need to think about that one.
Okay. You know what? Solid looks like he could actually answer that question, even though, Solid, would you like to chime in on that one?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, how much wood could it? No. And we're talking about dismantling the construct of race, and I really want I want Nerdy to really be able to get a good answer with that. But I would like to know that from your perspective, what would that look like for if we are able to actually dismantle race? What type of impact would that have on Black people?
A terrible one.
If we were to dismantle white supremacy, that would be amazing. But can I complicate this a little bit and talk about ethnoracial identity?
You got it.
Yeah, I think that blackness, kind of like that video you played the other night, is directly linked because of how blackness was created, because of the transatlantic slave trade. I think that especially here in the Americas, blackness is an ethnoracial identity. So there are intersections between our phenological classification, the attitudes that society had towards those, superficial physical characteristics, and the reactions to environmental stimuli that formed Black culture. And so it is something that is inextricably linked to race, right? So Black isn't just race for us. It's also our ethnicity. And, if you remove my race, you know what I mean? What happens to my ethnicity? We just left my live where we basically talked about the consumption of Blackness. I was talking a little bit about negrophilia.
Wait, what is
that? Negrophilia is the intense love and fetishization. And you know what? Let me read it to you.
Yeah.
Give me a hot second.
Yeah.
Refers to an intense fascination, fetishization, exoticization of Black people, culture, and bodies, originating in the 1920s in Paris and persisting through modern, often exploitative trends like blackfishing. I told my audience to consider the movie Get Out as a perfect representation, like just a beautiful representation of how Blackness is beloved, but Black people are dehumanized, right? Yeah, we also talked about the difference between cultural diffusion and cultural appropriation. So without my racial identity linked to my ethnicity, everything else that we create, I think, becomes open for consumption and gets lost in the sauce. And then people are already saying that they made up the stuff that we made up. You know what I mean? They're already saying that our stuff is theirs. So I've heard conversations, read a little bit about race abolition, and while I can appreciate the idea of dismantling race in general, I think what would be a more nuanced and probably more worthy goal would be to abolish white supremacy.
So I guess the one bit of pushback that I would have, or a question more so, is there a way to do both, right? To actually dismantle race while still being able to keep those characteristics around what our ethnicity has allowed us to innovate. Like I guess I'm just really trying to think of Yeah, I'll leave it there, Sala. What do you think? Because I didn't look at it from that perspective, but I get exactly what you're saying.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, race exists to stratify race, right? Race exists for the purpose of racial stratification. But it exists that way because of white supremacy, right? The goal was to ease the exploitation of labor. This week in this week on the pod, we're going to go over Loic Vauquois and his theory about ethnoracial dominance and peculiar institutions. And I don't see a way. I think that abolishing white supremacy is the worthy goal.
Right. All right. We can definitely agree on that one for sure.
Yeah, it's just that like I just love being black, man. I love black people so much.
I get what you're saying, and I guess I didn't think of the negative impact, right? I was only thinking about, and I get what you're saying. If you isolate it and you focus on the white supremacy aspect of it, then you can. But so, how do you do that then? Like, how do you specifically target only white supremacy?
You ain't gonna like my answer. Seizing the means of production. The seizing the means of production, liberating the marginalized people, and literally seeing to it that the autonomy of the most marginalized of us is put at the forefront, is the most paramount. So your fat, traditionally unattractive trans black woman who is differently abled, you know what I mean? All of those intersections, ensuring that they have the greatest amount of autonomy, right? You know, the incentive behind the stratification is the exploitation of labor. So, I mean, if you own your own labor power, then you kind of take care of that problem. But I don't want to be class reductionist and say like, oh, just if we get rid of capitalism, all of a sudden we've gotten rid of racism. That's a fallacy. That's not a real thing. But I mean, the question is almost asking me, how do we restructure society in a way that's going to be equitable for everybody? And
That's actually what I was saying, Solid. Like, I want you to fix society. Yeah. Like, that's what I was really telling you to do, is to fix society, Solid.
Okay, well, let me see. I took off for a vacation. Crimson Desert comes out March 19th, and I had taken off of work so I could play that. But I'll just do it that weekend instead.
Just, no get it to me, let me know, and I'll pay you back with maybe a bus or something. All right, let's jump back down. I want to
bus is crazy.
I'm gonna jump to Brenda. I want to come to you for a second, and I would love to hear your thoughts, kind of thinking about what Solid just said, right? Because we directly need to start addressing then white supremacy, and I think you already know where I'm going to go with this, Brenda. But who do we need leading the charge as far as looking to dismantle white supremacy and stop it, Petty? And how do we get those people to actually want to lead? Brenda, are you there? It's just me.
Can you hear me now? There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, it's taking a second. I was like, oh no, what's happening? That would be us white people, YT people.
So how do we get them
but not taking it, but not like taking charge in regards to like telling you all black people how to like that we're going to do everything and it's going to be how we want to do it. It's being in solidarity with you guys and taking our cues from you and how to discuss these types of things with our other white people.
Yeah, I do think that it's going to take white people specifically talking to white people, right? I mean, I say this all the time, and I talk about like the people, and Swan actually hit this on the head as far as like people being willing to give up their privilege. That's the only way to directly address any of these type of issues, is people are going to have to be willing to give that up in order to move in that right direction. And so it is going to take white people talking to white people, because I don't know if non-white people are going to be able to convince them to give up the privilege. So I do think that is something that is going
Oh,
to
yeah.
be a major role.
Yes, absolutely.
No.
And I just wanted to say, when I actually caught up when Professor said that she went to Kansas State, because that's where I went as well. And that school has a lot of issues. I'm not sure if she's aware that recently they fired the basketball coach. They said it was due to cause, even though because it came along that he took the names of the players off the jerseys and said that they needed to earn them back. Well, our beloved football coach Bill Snyder did the same thing over 20 years ago, due to issues, and nothing really happened then, but there's a slight melanin difference between our, recently fired basketball coach
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So,
yeah, no, I do think that, like, we see those type of discrepancies on a daily basis, and that's not
mhm.
shocking or surprising at all. Okay, I want to make sure that we keep it going, because I do want to make sure that we
Yep.
rotate people in and out. So give me a second. Dennis, coming to you. How are you? Dennis, are you there? I'm send you a request to come off mute. Oh, sorry. I was muting you at the same time you were coming off. I apologize.
How about now?
There we go. Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Dennis, can you tell the people, what is your race? What have you learned from this conversation throughout this week? And what are you looking to add to the conversation tonight?
So I'm full on white. I'm 61, and I've learned a lot. I'm trying to learn more because it seems like, I don't like racism. I don't like white entitlement, white supremacy. But it seems like I have the disease, if that makes sense to you.
I wouldn't say that. Like, that's
Well, what I mean is, I grew up. I grew up in Utah, which is very white, and I live in Denver now. But I grew up with this white entitlement my whole life, and it's not something that I adhere to or that I like. But I'm learning from you guys exactly what it looks like, what the solution might be, so on.
Okay. Dennis, what would you like to add then? Because I think that even Solid just shifted, like, literally the way that I was thinking in real time, and I can appreciate that. Um, what do you think it would take to start to try to dismantle white supremacy?
Well, I think, like you said, it's going to be white people that have to come to grips with it. It's almost like when I say we have the disease, we have white people have they've learned this white entitlement, white supremacy, and sometimes we don't know, we just react, like today, for example, somebody cut me off in it was really, really bad. Maybe I was driving too slow. The guy went and cut me off, flipped me off, all this and that. And it was a Hispanic guy. And the first reaction was, well, is he legal? And then I caught myself and said, man, that's a terrible thing to say. That's a terrible.
We're just gonna sit in this uncomfort for a moment, because I'm good with being uncomfortable. I don't mind Being uncomfortable.
Did y'all?
You know who did that?
You
Solid.
saw me? Did you see me see it coming?
I,
Okay, never mind.
Maybe I wasn't locked in enough.
I'm not gonna lie, the profile photo did it all. As soon as I see the profile photo, I said, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I don't usually judge people by their profile photos, but that one in particular.
Guys, tap the screen, share the live. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. W's in the chat for Teron. Teron sent a $19.99 super chat to say, huge thanks for this week of schooling. Teron, thank you so much for the love, kindness, and support. You are absolutely amazing. W's in chat for Miss Donna, who sent a $5 super chat to say, dismantling race for a biracial person would remove the feeling too black to be white and too white to be black. The feeling of not belonging, and that's what I was thinking of as well. But again, like I said, Solid really kind of blew my mind for a moment, and now I'm rethinking a couple of different things. So W's in the chat for the super chats, guys. If anyone else would like to support the live, if you enjoy what we do here on Late Nights, if you would like to keep the live going, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Guys, please also remember, take care of Swan. Swan is here as well, and Swan is absolutely amazing. Her pay links are running in the link tree. I'm sorry, in the poll in the bio. Please, please, please take a moment to show Swan some love because she has been crushing it all week. Swan, I want to come back to you really quick before I go to anyone else and see if there's anything that you have.
I think the only thing, well, this is kind of like a little off topic, if that's okay.
I told you
The
you can go wherever
YouTubers,
you want with it.
well, this is a little plug. I hope you don't mind, Solid. I'm gonna just do it. YouTubers were asking about Solid social, so I dropped them in the chat. So YouTubers, if you guys have a TikTok account, you can go to his page, go to the link tree in his bio, and everything is listed there. Just for those of y'all that were asking, because he does have really great
Solid
content.
have videos on his YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Solid, does Swan have videos on her YouTube?
I don't know. Let's go look.
Look at the time. Something came up.
What had happened was, anyway, Swan, you were saying.
I am gonna drop an introduction video this week, y'all. I promise y'all. Before Sunday hits midnight, okay? I will be.
We can't play the whole thing, and you know why, but.
I was gonna say, I think it's important for people to make sure that they're like really taking in what's being said up here. I did drop the name of the book, The Sum of Us by Heather McGee, in the comments section. So if y'all want that information again, I could drop it in the comments. But the reason why I'm saying this, and I'm gonna continue saying this, and it's so basic, but people will listen to these conversations and be moved and impacted in here. And then the minute they leave the live, they're just going back to their, to their regular lives, doing what they do. But if this is something that really is resonating within you to help improve yourself and to improve society, then I'm just hoping that in the future, if you are someone who listens to Santana's lives, my lives, Solid's lives, or anybody else that discusses these things, that you're writing things down or taking notes of the things that we're saying and writing down the names of these books, right? Purchase the book, borrow the book, listen to the book, use an audio book. But, and I know it sounds redundant, but like re-education is crucial when it comes to deconstructing. If you don't know that chattel slavery never ended, that it just transformed into the prison industrial complex per the 13th Amendment, then you're not going to be able to comprehend these things that we're talking about, right? If you don't know that the Heritage Foundation, the president of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, studied enslaved people in Louisiana and also studied the Haitian Revolution and studied Nat Turner's Rebellion so that he could perpetuate racism and white supremacy, then you're not going to be able to understand why these things are important, or the erasure of our history within education, how that specifically, because listen, who is it? Moms of Liberty or Daughters of Confederacy that fought to have these things removed from our education system? Well, where are all the white tea women that are deconstructing to combat that? Because I don't know about no organizations, right, full of white tea women who want to push back against the whoever it is, Daughters of Confederacy, Moms of Liberty. Does one exist? Is there anybody putting in that actual work, right? If they are saying that they want to understand and they truly want to deconstruct, right, then that's something that should be pushed back against, right? Our history and understanding the truths of it, and I can acknowledge the fact that it should be developmentally appropriate for the child, right, and their age and what grade they're in. But why don't we see that? A lot of people will come up here and say that they're deconstructing, but I don't know a group of white women that have come together to push back against Daughters of Confederacy and Moms of Liberty. What I'm saying is, if you truly want to see a change, take the information in and take notes, right? And go over these things when the live ends. When you get off of YouTube, when you put your phone down, you should be looking into all of these things. That's important. That's crucial. Otherwise, what are we really doing here? You know, it's basic, but I just need to drive that point home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really quick, guys, massive W's in the chat for Caroline. Caroline sent a $80 donation and said, share it 50-50 with Swan, please. You know I will. Can't give more right now, but make sure 40 of those bucks go to Swan for her other projects. Caroline, thank you so much. That is that is a ton of money, especially in this economy. Hey, Solid.
Yes, sir.
I was talking to my wife the other day, and I'm not going to tell like the context of everything else, but we were talking about something, and then she was like, "You can't be 5'3" in this economy," and I was like, "What? I ain't never heard that one in my life."
She's right.
Anyway, all right. W's in the chat for Caroline. For Caroline, for the $80 donation, and I will definitely be sending half of it over to Swan. Thank you. That is crazy. Thank you so much for the kindness, love, and support. Guys, if anyone else would like to support live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and link tree in bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that out. All right, Nerdy. I'm gonna go ahead and swap you and Brenda out, but Nerdy, I want to see if you have anything that you wanted to add, because I know we had to come back to you. And I'm wondering if you have a different perspective now based off of what Solid just hit us with.
Yeah, I was thinking about what he said and everything that has been said thus far. And that's a great question. Like, how does one dismantle racism without taking away something else?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because like, I know that my perspective isn't going to be unique because I'm biracial. You know, I mean, obviously it's not a race. I'm just describing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that like that's a hard thing to do because it feels like it's going to be beneficial for white people because then it's another way of it othering themselves. So that's what, like, I've been in these debate spaces for like I want to say 3 close to 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned in these past few years, because like if you don't mind, can I give a little context as to why I started wanting to learn more about my black side?
Sure.
So like in 2017, and I'm only saying this because I want to give context and not because I'm trying to get people feel emotional. But in 2017,
wait, is it something that we need to give a trigger warning for? Because we want to make sure that
no, not at all.
Okay,
not at all.
Okay. I wanted to make sure.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Okay, it's nothing triggering. It's just more of it gave me a different perspective, and I just wanted to give context so it gives so it makes sense of what I'm saying. Okay, so I kind of over-explain things, but okay. So in 2017, my dad, stepmom, and baby brother were unalived by a drunk driver, and so that happened so suddenly. I never really got a chance to sit down and really learn about talk to my dad and really learn about, you know, his story, the black his experiences, the black side, I guess, like, and I don't really have a lot of family on that side because a lot of them kind of passed very soon too. Oh, is that triggering? I'm so sorry if it is. I'm so sorry.
That's definitely something
I'm
that
so
you
sorry.
Well, yeah. Go ahead and finish as far as the actual experience. But yeah, that is something, a traumatic event that could absolutely be triggering to people that's listening. But please go ahead
That
and
was
finish
so
your story.
insensitive. I am so
No,
sorry. I am
you're
so
good.
sorry.
You're good. We'll just go ahead and the floor is still yours.
I'm sorry. Okay. So the reason why I kind of, well, I guess I've been in a lot of therapy, as I think I mentioned last time I was here. So I kind of sort of dealt with it. I mean, I don't think you're ever gonna get over it, but you learn to live with it, right? But I never really got to have that conversation with my dad on these things, you know, because he wasn't really the type of, I'm trying to say this in TikTok friendly vernacular. He kind of was the type of Black person that was catering to whiteness, kind of.
Well, yeah, certain Black people look to uphold white supremacy through different actions. Yeah, absolutely. What I will say though, Nerdy, is I don't want to. I I want to hear your story, but I want to make sure that like we are giving a safe space not only for you and your emotions and you being able to deal with this, but also the chat. So I want to get your perspective, but I really want to make sure that we're not harming anyone accidentally by sharing this. So I kind of don't want to continue with that just because I don't want to go to a place where it could be harmful to you or anyone else with like actually covering this out in like the conversation in the moment.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I
no, you're
completely
okay.
understand
You're
that.
okay. You're okay. I just don't want to for you, for the chat, for everyone. I want to make sure that we're trying to keep everyone in a good mental space at least while we go through this conversation. And I don't want to have any possible negative impacts on anyone. But wait, hold on a second. So Swan, you wanted to add something to what Nerdy was saying, some perspective.
What Nerdy is speaking on is anti-blackness, and I think that that's like understanding anti-blackness and how it impacts people. The whole purpose of white supremacy is to convince everybody that white people and whiteness, it means superiority, and that anything that, any person that's non-white, that they believe that as well, and that they believe that they're truly inferior. And to really drive Nerdy's point home is like back in the 1850s, there was a doctor. This is during chattel slavery, a doctor named Samuel A. Cartwright, who said, yeah, that was his name. He came up with a disease called drapetomania, and that disease or mental health issue at the time, which was manufactured, meant that if you were an enslaved person who felt like you wanted to run away from the plantation, felt like you wanted freedom, if you pushed back against your enslaver, then that means that you have a mental health issue, and the solution to that is going to be us whipping you. They literally have tried so many things to make us believe that we are truly inferior and that they're superior. And we still see that executed today, not in the same way, but we still see that messaging, and we're taking in that messaging constantly. The minute you open your app, you're taking in that messaging. And I think that when you grow up in that type of a society, there is a level of there's a disconnect that you have, right? There's I would say the need to wonder why things are like this.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were talking about before, connecting this to the doll test, if you don't have anybody that can help you with instilling that like that confidence within you and knowing that your blackness is not just tied to your oppression, it gets difficult. And I think what Nerdy, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nerdy, what you're communicating was you coming to the realization and understanding that that's something that you have to do for yourself, and that's why and how you've gotten into these discussions and why you've educated yourself, and why that's important to you as a Black person, right?
That's exactly what I was trying to say. You said it way better than I can. I just feel so bad that I just kind of
No, you're
blurted it
fine.
out,
You're
you
fine. You're
know?
fine. You're absolutely fine. And I think that Going through and having these conversations is super important, and also understanding like how the conversations could or could not impact people is a learning process. And so you're perfectly fine. And I definitely appreciate you wanting to share and being here. But I'm going to go ahead and swap you out just because I want to try to get more people in, as many people as possible. But thank you so much for coming up. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. And I apologize. I'm so
Stop
sorry.
it. Stop it. You're good.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for
I
coming
can't
up.
stop saying
Okay.
sorry. Thank you.
Brenda, you wanted to add something else before I swap you out?
Yeah. I completely understand what Swan was saying in regards to, a group of white women fighting against Moms of Liberty and all that stuff. My only concern is I'm not sure if you're all aware of the article that came out on Gloria Steinem, where it was finally known that she was like her whole deal back in the 60s and 70s was to be like anti-communist. That's why all of her like feminist her feminist fight had nothing to do with like economic disparities or racial disparities or anything like that. Like, so that's why I'm like, I am very wary when someone says that her feminist fight is because of Gloria Steinem. I'm like, that makes me worried, because that's very concerning. And then I also, I think a lot of it is also, I always tell people that, a lot of things is like people do not recognize that we're all on the planet due to other people's decisions in a socioeconomic system that we never agreed to beforehand. And therefore the system is made up. It is effed up and should be dismantled and recreated to benefit everyone. So that's kind of what I wanted to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Swan, did you want to reply at all?
I think we got to start moving the conversation forward. Yes, we are all born into this, but the problem is that people use that as an excuse to continue the status quo, and we can't afford to do that anymore. So I think it's important to have this conversation and talk about the fact that, yeah, this was created hundreds of years ago, but it's been maintained. And we're watching that happen globally. White supremacy is always being maintained constantly, right? But right now, we are watching a global shift, right? And these actions and decisions made by world leaders is them wanting to preserve whiteness, even the ones that are not white, right? So I think it's important that we start to have a real conversation about the maintenance, as Solid would say, of this hierarchy, right? We got to keep talking about that, because the minute we bring up the past and we just dismiss it and say that it's in the past, we lose the ability to come to a resolution, right? That is happening right now, that's negatively impacting our material conditions right now. We lose the ability to progress, right? So that's my only criticism of that is that we all understand that it was created way back when, and we know that none of us has control over this, but what are we doing about it? And that's got to be the conversation that we need to have from here moving forward.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, I mean,
don't.
recognizing
Wait
that
1 second,
that it
Brenda.
is made
Brenda,
up and so it can't be recreated.
Brenda. I don't want to have a back and forth, just because I do want to make sure that we're respecting the time and everyone else. But I'm going to drop you down, Brenda. I appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much. I'm going to swap you out. But I did want to go to Solid. Solid, did you want to add anything to that?
I'm getting ready to hit the sack here in a second. Can I ask you a question?
Maybe. You might have to hit the pay links to get an answer, but go for it.
Okay, for sure. Do you like to eat
I do.
food?
I do. I love to eat food.
Do you like living? Do you want to live in a society where the likelihood of you never going without food is extremely high?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Okay. If you were threatened by an entity that wanted to create a society where the likelihood that you would go without eating is high, would you recognize it?
Oh yeah, I would. Absolutely would.
You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about what I would do if I was in those what are they called? Those civil rights movies where like there's like the old Negro spiritual in the background. What would I do if I were confronted with a world, with a society that was intentionally starving me, or confronted with a society that was intentionally trying to make me a second-class citizen, or trying to relegate me to free and cheap labor? And the more you look around and the more you listen, the more you learn, the more you read, the more you realize that you're there. You're in that society. You're in a society where even though you may have food on your table, there are millions of people who don't have food on their table, and it is directly linked to their blackness. My answer is we fight. We just fight. Whenever I sign off, and I'm going to sign off in a little bit, I say, all power to all the people except for Ralph. Do something good for your neighbor. Ubuntu, viva la raza, throw more bricks. That throw more bricks part is to say that fighting seems so far away, and it's very much discouraged through a cultural hegemony, through a hegemonic, it's like a control, right? Basically people saying that you doing violence is bad, you rebelling is bad, you standing up for yourself is bad. Case in point, when Black Lives Matter, the largest protest nation, like globally ever, like the largest civil rights protest was a global protest. 97%. I may have them flipped. It may be 93%, but it was like, it's 97% of all of the Black Lives Matter protests was peaceful. And they painted it out as, how many of you have heard a Kadunka Chud describe the Black Lives Matter protest as burning down cities? So my question to you is, if they're going to characterize your peaceful protest as violent anyway, all power to all the people except for Ralph. Do something good for your neighbor. Ubuntu, viva la raza, throw more bricks.
Throw more
Love y'all.
bricks.
Period. Love you too, Solid.
W's in chat for Solid. I literally, I had that conversation today with someone, and I said, name a peaceful protest that actually ever affected any type of change. And he was like, can you name a violent one that actually affected any type of change? I said, all of them. Every single one of them that actually had real change had violence that. I'm gonna leave it there. Really quick, guys. W's in the chat for Irene. W's in the chat for Irene. Irene sent a $60 donation. Irene said, please split this with Swan. Thank you and Swan for doing so much work and creating a space for these convos. This week has been worth so much more than any amount of money. So appreciative of you two and the grace that you have. Listen, it's all Swan. I am like nothing without Swan this week, and she has been absolutely awesome as far as covering and carrying the topic. W's in the chat. Thank you so much. And W's in the chat for Amy, who sent a $50 donation. Said, can you share this one with Swan, please? I don't have Cash App. Learning a lot from her and realizing how much more I could be doing. Never thought about starting my own counter to the YTS groups. Absolutely, absolutely. W's in the chat for both Amy and both Irene. I will be splitting both of those and sending those over to Swan. You both are absolutely, absolutely amazing. W's in the chat for all the donos, guys. If anyone else like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. Guys, please, please, please make sure that we are taking care of Swan as well, because Swan is here and we want to make sure that we can actually show her some love. And W's in chat for Emily, who sent a $10 donation, saying, could you or Swan maybe summarize what Solid said in easier words? I'm not sure native. I'm not a native English speaker, and I would love to understand when he was trying to say "love you too." Yeah, I can simplify it. Basically, what Solid was saying is that we live in a world, a place, a space where the access to basic needs are no longer freely given, and they are being restricted. And instead of having the natural reaction where basic needs are restricted, instead of us fighting and to take those basic needs back, we live in a society where we accept not having those basic needs, or at the very least, taking whatever is given. And so in normal situations, if it came between survival and living in a situation where you were completely held down, most people would do whatever it takes to survive. And I'm trying to kind of pretty that up and, keep it TikTok friendly and keep it within the line. Swan, am I missing anything without going, too overboard with what I'm saying?
No, not at all. I agree with that. I think we just don't necessarily think about how society is structured and how that structure was created to keep us in the place that we're in right now, which is all of us being harmed in many different ways, no matter what marginalized community you belong to, or even a community that's benefiting from another group's oppression. And understanding that this is something that has to be dealt with, and also understanding what that dealt with looks like, a group that is.
What you mean by that, Swan? What you mean? No, go ahead. Keep going. I'm not. Keep going.
Well,
Ignore me.
no,
Ignore
that's
me.
literally where I was going. That's where I was going. In order to communicate with your oppressor, you've got to learn how to speak your oppressor's language. I do also want to say, I saw someone in the comment section say, we need to flip the script, meaning we use their tools against them that they've used on us. I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
Now, I do think that with the communication aspect, yeah, you know what I'm saying? If they're speaking, whatever, then you need to be speaking whatever too. But the goal is to rid ourselves of those tools, right? The goal is to, like, the minute you become your oppressor, in the aspect of, I want to flip the script on you, meaning all the things you've done to me, I'm going to do to you. You've lost revolution. You've lost liberation. Liberation is, I need to stop you, and I need to stop you using the same tool that you use against me in terms of keeping me restrained. But that's as far as it goes, right? Because the minute you perpetuate the same thing, your oppressor has won, because now you've become your oppressor.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help anybody who would want to be a part of the group. That is perpetuating that harm.
Absolutely.
And if that's something that people can't comprehend, then they need to really sit down and reflect with themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna come to J Hop, and I am gonna mess up your name. I'm just gonna flat out say it right now. I'm gonna come to both of you in just the 2 seconds, but I have to say, guys, massive W's in the chat for Brandon. Massive, 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 massive W's in the chat for Brandon. Brandon sent a $100 donation. Said, "Love your work. I've learned so much. So thank you." As a white guy, I see one of many ways to dismantle white supremacy is changing white people's perspective by dismantling propaganda. I agree. It's so prevalent, and it's hard to change a mind that can't see truth. Please share this with Swan. You know I will. W's in the chat for Brandon. Absolutely. A million W's in the chat for Brandon. A million W's in the chat for all the donos, especially also, let's not forget, BC3713. We still need to be getting a million W's in the chat for them as well. A million W's in the chat for all the donors. You guys are absolutely going off this evening. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your kindness, your love, and your support. You guys, through your support, we will continue to be able to do what we do here at Late Nights and be able to continue to create this space and have these wonderful conversations. So thank you so much for all of your support. All right, J-Hop, I want to give you the floor. We have been going in an in-depth conversation. I would love to get your perspective on overall, because we were originally looking at, dismantling racism, but the point that we need to be focusing on is dismantling white supremacy. What is your thoughts on that, J-Hop?
Well, hi Swan. 100%.
What about me?
100%. Sorry. Hi Santana. I don't know you like that though.
Okay.
I try though. I learned about you actually from Swan and Solid and Jeff and Erica. And yeah, so it's funny that you asked me that. So I was washing dishes when you asked Brenda what she thinks the best way to how you start dismantling white supremacy. And I had to put my dishes down and write down some notes because she was pissing me off. Kind of, but also I feel like I wanted to speak to her, and speaking to her, she might I think that what I wanted to say to her would also explain the answer on how I feel about ending white supremacy. It is going to be white people. It is not going to be white people helping Black people. It's going to be white people. And Swan stole the words out of my mouth, which was, it's going to be white women specifically. It has to be white women specifically to start the process of dismantling white supremacy. And one of the ways we do that is when we see white people saying things like, we need to come together to support Black people, or calling them a little more melanated. We need to call that out and correct that immediately. It's okay to say Black people. Stop saying BIPOC. Stop grouping all marginalized people together, because it actually, when I hear white people say BIPOC, what I'm hearing is, I don't see color. That's what I hear, because it dismisses every single Black, Indigenous person of color's experience and just kind of clumps everybody into one. So that's definitely something that we need to address when we're talking to each other. And we have to do it when we see it, and we have to be okay with the uncomfortableness that comes along with it. And I think the thing that we really need to talk about is the atrocities that has brought us to where we are today. That exactly was, chattel slavery hasn't gone away. It's just changed forms. White supremacy and racism aren't getting better. It just looks different now. And we still benefit as white people today, whether or not we're dismantling our racism, dismantling the white supremacy, we still benefit today. And you can't say, like the guy that was up here before that you guys ended up dropping, well, I don't appreciate that I have all this white privilege. I'm going to say something pretty controversial. I quite enjoy the white privilege that I have.
You know what I said? I told someone, J-Hop, I said, because I was talking about like reparations, right? And they was like, I don't want, to pay reparations. Da, 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 da. I said, listen, how about this? Instead of giving us reparations, how about you give Black people white privilege? Because we'll take that instead of reparations. I mean, I'll
All
trade
day.
some reparations for some white privilege.
Listen, all day, every day. The difference between me saying that I enjoy my white privilege and versus what he said is I do my best to use my white privilege when I can to help not speak for, but to speak out about white supremacy and racism. So when I can use my white privilege to step in and be like, no, that's not okay. Like I do that whenever I see the opportunity, I do. The thing that bothered me too is like when she was answering the question was, and again, this is what you would do instead of telling Black people yet another experience of a Black person experiencing racism. We don't need to tell stories to Black people about what's happening to other Black people. Like it's just another Tuesday. It happens every day. What I want to know from her specifically is, since that is the coach from her alma mater, has she called the dean yet, or the president? And forgive me if I'm using the wrong words because I never went to college, but has she called the dean yet? Has she called the president? Has she written any letters? Has she gone to the school? Or did she just come up and talk about it to a room full of Black people? The last part, and I said this once before, is she totally dismissed this man as a Black person by saying, and he was just a little more melanated. When you tell the story like that, it makes it seem like it's not as big of a deal as it actually is. But she also shouldn't be telling the story to Black people. But if she wants to use that as him being fired as an example when she's talking to white people, then that's okay. Like say this happened to this Black coach and it didn't happen to this white coach. That's not okay. This is what white supremacy looks like. This is what racism in school, in education looks like. And I'll land there.
Can I add something real quick?
Yep.
This is why it's important for white people to address other white people when deconstructing. Because I think J Hops just laid out the issues that with the perspective that was shared earlier, but that's from the perspective of being someone who is in the same group, benefiting from racism. This is why we always tell people, like when you come to a Black person like demanding and requesting the labor and education, I cannot connect with someone that benefits from the oppression. I can't connect with the fish that has been in water their entire times, and I'm over their entire life. I mean, and I'm over here trying to tell them like, nah, like there's air. There's like if you leave this water, there's air out there. There's trees. There's bees. There's birds. When all the fish knows is water. You know what I mean? And I think that that's really important. It's also on the flip side to that, I said this yesterday because I know that people are probably going to be looking for information. But when you ask a Black person to do that labor for you, if a Black person just does it, that's that own Black person's choice to do that. They don't have to do that for you, right? When you ask them for that labor or you demand that labor from them, what you are saying is, hey, can you please teach me how to see your humanity? Like, can you teach me how to treat you like a human being? Right? And that can be problematic. But when you have somebody that is in the same class and understands these things and has taken the time to deconstruct, and they know what your plight is, or they know what your journey is going to look like because they were once you at one point in time, that those are the people that you should be talking to when we talk about deconstructing, if that makes sense.
I understood everything you said, Swan. You're exactly right. And
Hold on.
I've said something.
Hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
J-Hop. I'm gonna read this off for you. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Dennis did a $5 super chat and said, "I'm the guy that called earlier. I have no idea what I said wrong. Honestly, it's challenging awful racist things. Honestly, it's challenging awful racist things that we honestly honesty in challenging awful racist things we have been taught. I think he's trying to say, is it wrong to challenge the racist things that they've been taught? He said he doesn't know why he was dropped, and is it wrong to challenge those racist things that you all have been taught? And so I wanted to give you that. So if you want to reply to him, J Hop.
My reply to him would be, why are you acting like a victim? He's acting like he was victimized by being dropped. It's not wrong to challenge what we've learned, but you can't just be on a panel and say some racist stuff and get dropped and then be like, what did I do? Because I see that with white men a lot. What did I do? I just asked a question, when that's not really what happened. I see that happen to you all the time, Santana. They ask you a really BS question, and then when you're like, why would you say some blah, blah, blah like that? And they're like, what? It's just a question. You know, I hate that, because that to me is that victim mentality. I'm a victim. All I did was ask a question and then I got dropped for no reason. Like that's what I answer to that, honestly. And one thing I wanted to say before that I forgot to say is I sent Brenda a follow. I sent Brenda a follow. So if she's still here and wants to follow me back, ask me any questions. If she has questions about if she thinks she said any wrong or anything wrong, I'm open to talk to other white people.
All right. 1 second here. I think it's pronounced Zakiki. Zakiki. Is that accurate? Is that how you say your username? Zakiki?
Jakiki.
Jakiki.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes. How are you?
Okay. Jakiki. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me up.
Thank you. What would you like to add to the conversation, Jakiki?
So something that I've recently been dealing with, if I can just 30 seconds real quick. Last year, I lost my job due to a huge influx of tariffs and rent increases, and found it more beneficial to homeschool my child. I live in Florida, and there have been a lot of different changes in the laws and regulations with education in Florida. And something that really stood out to me when, Martin Luther King Day last month, I was trying to teach my son a little bit about, civil rights and everything. And he's 7 years old, second grade. And something that blew my mind was that he had not been taught anything about, slavery, civil rights, nothing like that. When I remember being myself, I'm 33 years old.
We're going to pause here because I'm not really sure exactly how you just heard J-Hop speak all of those wonderful words and then thought it would be a fantastic idea to start off with a centering of yourself and then ask a question about Martin Luther King. I'm genuinely perplexed. Like, you've been up here for a while and you've heard person after person speak. And
no, it was leading into it, and I didn't realize that I was muted, and I apologize for that, because that was...
Yeah, I muted you because immediately you came in and just centered yourself in something that was just explained on things that we don't want to do. So I'm going to ask you if there's something that you have to add to the topic before we move on.
So what I was, because I'm sorry, I joined the panel a while ago and I wanted to get both Mr. Santana and Mrs. Swan's opinion about something that I've been dealing with is just the erasure of Black culture within the education system. And so I apologize.
May I ask your race?
I'm white, but
Okay, you can stop, but nothing. So you just heard Swan say, it was literally like the last thing that was just said, is don't come up or don't ask Black people under the guise of a question to do labor for you. J Hops said that she's even open to talk to white people. I
absolutely
am willing to talk to white people. You need to talk to white people, not ask Black people to educate you on something like that.
Unless you hit the pay links.
Kay,
You're
do you mind?
absolutely right. I apologize.
Kay, do you mind if I add something?
Absolutely. Go ahead, of course.
Just so you're clear, you haven't experienced or dealt with Black erasure. When you said that, I literally was choking out my phone. Why would you? I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but let me just say, if I was you and I heard me speak, I would have dropped if that was my question. I'd been like, ain't no way I'm going to say that after everything I just heard that woman before me say.
No, you're right. I individually myself don't deal with it, but I do. I'm one of 9 siblings, and I do
hold on
have.
before you say it. I already know what you're going to say. You're about to tokenize some Black person in your family, and that's a microaggression and also racism. And it's like you're parading this family member around in front of 642 people to say, I've experienced because of this one Black family member, or however.
No, it's not my experience.
Hold on, please. This is another thing that we do. We like to overtalk and explain our position so that we don't look bad, because we want people to think that we're good people even when we're doing racist things. And we're not bad people. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it doesn't make you a bad person when you have someone tell you that you're being racist, as long as you have the changed behavior behind it. But you're being very defensive, and you want us to know that you're not a bad person, and that you aren't experiencing it personally, but you're watching other people experience. Every single Black person in this panel has watched somebody experience Black erasure. So for you to come up here with this melancholy attitude and sounding so sad and sullen, I promise you, you have zero idea about what it feels like to actually experience Black erasure.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to say that you should probably drop. You can message me and ask me the question that you want. Please stop tokenizing your family members and parading them around because when you do that, to me, it feels like you wouldn't give 2 shits about education of MLK during Black History Month. Sorry. I forgot Mom's here. I forgot Mom listens. Sorry, Mom. My mom passed away 2 years ago, so I get to cuss now.
She's literally listening. I
totally forgot. Listen, my mom passed away 2 years ago at the age of 93, so I feel like I can cuss now. But dang it, I forgot Mama Jones listens. Sorry, I won't do it again. Dang it, I forgot what I was saying too. What was I saying? Oh, it feels like if you didn't have Black family members, you would not care at all about whether anybody learned about Martin Luther King during Black History Month. So it seems very superficial. So I just really suggest you ask white people. And maybe you can ask, but don't ever ask Black people about how they feel about Black erasure. That's crazy. Okay, I'll land. Sorry.
Can
I
say something
apologize,
real
but
quick?
thank you guys for having me up.
Wait, don't drop. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if science, you found that science, or well, I guess we go. If you found out that grammar was no longer being taught in your child's school, how would you handle that?
I would not be happy with that.
Okay, well, I'm not asking about your emotions. What action would you take?
I took my son from school because he was not doing well, and
This isn't about his
it was-
ability. This is about the school not teaching grammar. If you found out that your child's school was not teaching grammar, how would you handle that?
I would go to the principal, I would go to the school board, I would vote,
Bingo.
I would, yeah.
Bingo. So why can't the same thing be applied to the erasure of Black history in schools?
You're absolutely right. And I've been trying to. I live in a
You don't have to
very
explain yourself, because I think you're going to cause more harm if you overthink it and overdo it. So I just want to say this. This is an example of exactly what we're talking about, right? If it was science,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, hold on, let me finish. She would go and address the school. If it was grammar, she would go and address the school, right? When people want to do their research on things, like if people get a new pet and they need to figure out how to care for it, they're going to go and do their research, but when it comes to understanding racism and white supremacy, all of a sudden people start glitching. What we are seeing is a reaction, whether they're aware of it or not, of them exercising the tenets of white supremacy, right? The right to comfort, the defensiveness, like those things. So this is a real-time example of someone who is conditioned, right, to behave in a particular way and to think in a particular way in society. And it's frustrating for all of us because we're thinking to ourselves, like, why are you not getting this? Why are you not understanding this? But she and Dennis are the fish in water, right? So I just want people to understand that, because I know it does get very triggering when we have instances like this, but I want to be able to explain it to the people that are listening in, that this in real time is a very example of what we are talking about. We're saying, hey, there's water, there's birds, there's air, there's trees, and all of these things that exist outside of the water. And the doubling down, the tripling down is because the fish has never left water. They just can't comprehend it. And so this is something that I think all white people go through on their journey. So, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you also need to self-reflect. And when you keep on giving those defensive responses, trying to reverse what you did, it doesn't necessarily change anything, and you only hinder yourself from progressing, right? Like if it doesn't matter at this point. If you run into somebody's car, you crash somebody's car, right? You can say sorry, but that doesn't change the impact of what happened. It's always going to be impact over intent. So this is a lesson for you, where you need to reflect on what just happened here. And you also need to learn how to not center yourself, but pay attention to the harm that you caused to other people, because it was harmful.
And Swan, honestly, I don't think that she would go to the school board or the principal. Just so happens somebody put that in the comments right as you were asking her the question. She said it almost verbatim how they typed it. So I think she was just giving you the answer that she thought you'd want to hear.
That's valid. That is.
I don't think that that's a fair conclusion to come to, because I was going to my son's school daily.
Well, it is because you could have did the same. Hold on, I'm gonna stop you right there. It is because you could have done the same thing when it came to understanding why Black history doesn't exist within the curriculum. But instead, right after we talked about the weight that places onto Black people for us to answer your questions about the system that benefits you, right, is that it doesn't matter. You just want what you want, right? Like you literally just hold on. You literally came up here and asked us. What you are about to say is invalid. What you are about to say is you exercising your right to comfort. It doesn't matter what we're explaining to you. It doesn't matter the harm you've caused. You are desperate right now in this moment to find a way to feel more comfortable. And that's the harm. You literally said, right? I would go to my school for something like that. So if that's the case, why did you come up here and ask us in the first place?
My original
Sorry, that wasn't a
statement that I
question for you to
wanted
respond
to
to. I'm sorry, that wasn't for you to respond to. I should have said that, but that's just for you to think about, not respond.
No, I absolutely will go to bed tonight thinking about what your words mean. Because, I mean, yesterday I was listening to the entire live, and something that really struck like a chord with me with you, Miss Swan, something that you said was about, we're talking about inherent, white supremacy within white people, and that it's not about hatred. It's about something that is, put into us inherently. It's not always a hatred thing. The white supremacy is something that's built into us.
I'm gonna stop you because you're getting real
Yes,
close
ma'am.
to inherited versus inherit. They're two different words.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I have a ton of resources. This is what I do. So please, I'll send you a follow. We can try to have a conversation off app, either Discord or through DMs. But at this point, the harm that's been caused, I apologize. I'll reflect, and then the drop would be probably the best right now.
I don't know. Okay, I'll do it right now.
Have a good night. Okay, just a couple other things that I want to address since we're just here. If I see one more white person in the chat say that they're a non-practicing white, you will be blocked from this space. I do not understand this. I mean, because then I look at a bio with a blue bracelet and a safety pin and all this other BS. Like, stop saying it. You're white. We're white. Like, you don't have any control over it. I didn't have any control over it. It's about what we do. So I can't even, like, the othering to are you saying like you're a good one? Like, I don't understand. But like, in this space, you've been here long enough. There is absolutely no reason to see that comment. But you can not be able to choose your race, but be able to choose what you do with it. And if you're choosing to actually type out non-practicing white, we have a bigger problem, because you are absolutely practicing it by saying that. And even after, like, asking to have Swan not have to labor, still giving it freely, still, sitting here and educating, and thank you as always, Swan. But, I couldn't believe, after everything that, J Hop said, and every time, in every space I see J Hops in that we share across the interwebs, always just absolutely, on point. I couldn't believe that was like what was left to end the night, but it was a point. Like, it was a real-time example for 900 plus people. And I think this just leads into the one thing that I wanted to kind of discuss tonight, and that was people who are quote unquote white liberals, who think that they're super, like, keyed in and everything. I need you to read Woke Racism, because I genuinely, we are some of the most harmful people when we have, like, just this tiny bit of knowledge. So there are so many resources out there for us. There are groups, some that need to be started, as in Swan said, in direct retaliation to other groups. But there are groups, I'm in Chicago. We hold a group is for white people, but it is for deconstruction only. It is not in opposition to another group. But we need to take a look at articles that speak to exactly, being in our journeys, but not being able to be safe enough to be around or to share those opinions. That's all I got for right now.
Kay, can you repeat the name of the book you were talking about? Somebody missed it in the comments.
It's called Woke Racism.
Woke racism. Not gonna hold you. W's in chat for Swan, J-Hop, and Kay, because like they did all the heavy lifting on that one. So W's in chat for all three of them, and hit Swan's pay links because Black women labor ain't free. No, I want to say like thank you all seriously, because I think it's super interesting. It goes back to like how many times have all of us have said this tonight. All of us have said this tonight. Like, read the room, and it feels like at a certain point we should be able to stop saying read the room, and people should just be able to like read the room. I'm so confused as far as what's happening. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I will say also really quickly, guys, Debbie's in the chat for Draco Rosa. I said, when you read the last super chat, you reminded me of Porky Pig. That's all, folks. Yes. Debbie's in chat for Rest Belt for the $5 super chat. Say, we have more access to info than we ever had before. So take some initiative and do your own research rather than expecting someone to teach you. I was literally talking about like how things have progressed, and like you can find all the information. And massive W's in the chat for MJ Dean 217, who sent a $100 super chat to say thank you, J-Hop. He said made her uncomfortable and she wanted to change the topic. Hold on. One of 9 siblings, and I'm a white and 56. This is why my eye twitches whenever white women have to fix this. Please tell me how. Yeah. I mean, like I think it's the problem that I have when it comes to not necessarily like this overall conversation, but it's when white people like K and J Hop and other people that I like associate with, when I know for a fact that it's something that can be done, and there's people actively working on these things, and there's people who are taking those steps, and then there's people who just think they're completely oblivious. Like it's just like, I don't know how to do any of this. And it's kind of mind-blowing and infuriating when you see that, because then it just feels like they're playing in my face. So like that's the tough part. Like when I know that there's plenty of people who are actively doing the things, but for some reason it's just like a foreign concept to other people. So I don't know. And J-Hop, anything else from you?
Nope, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you. Kay, anything else from you?
No, I think it was a fantastic week. I'm so thankful to Swan for all your time, and I really want to keep going to the deeper levels of topics that we've covered. I feel like it seems so. It seems
we
so.
Can't go back, Kay. Come on.
No. I'm not asking to go back.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Like, I knew we were going to be able to move forward.
No, I think I think what we're doing is fine. I'm not asking to go back.
No, I know.
But
I'm just talking about the people.
Yeah, I feel like there are people like J Hops and out there that can come and contribute to our conversations in a much more positive way. I think that there's been times where certain people have been on the panel multiple times and they're still not kind of getting the fact that they don't have it to contribute yet, and it always turns into like a personal anecdote. So that's, that's, I mean, that's just the one thing that I would say is like, before like we have these conversations on late nights, to like, we asked everyone last night to do homework, and I literally asked in the chat within the first like 20 minutes, I said, where are my people who did their homework? Not one person said that they did any homework last night
Okay,
to talk about this topic, and that was disappointing.
Listen to this donation. So William, I almost said the whole name up by accident, but William sent $1 just to say, so white people are automatically racist. That's what William. That's
Yep.
what William got. That's literally what William got from all of this.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, and I think it's okay that we say it, and just then what? Like, why are you so worried about being called it and not just addressing it? So like, just say yes, and then we address it. Like, we can have conversations. There's been plenty of times that, I know TikTok, sometimes it gets a little bit more rough, it gets a little bit more contentious because, the talking over, and, listen, if there's one rule that I wish we could absolutely adopt is, solids, no samesies, like no same timers. Like, I also do like no weird shit, no annoying shit, but I mean, there is rule. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Mama Jones, please. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's late. I'm tired. I'm so sorry. I don't want to disrespect Mama Jones. But you did start playing that song a couple times tonight.
But you see, hold on. That's all I got. You see that?
Your timing with that was good, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then you we didn't even know.
I'm a professional.
I was like, okay, you sniped that sound real quick. That was good. That was impressive.
That's all I have. I think next week will be great, and I'm very thankful. Thank you so much, Swan, and I hope everyone has a good night. There are resources in the Discord, and if you're not in there and you're not a member and you want to subscribe, you can subscribe as a super fan on TikTok, on Twitch. You can use your one free a month if you have Prime, and you can do the YouTube membership, any of those to get in, and then there are some resources in there, and we're going to be bulking it out because we have extra help now, and I'm not alone. So
you're not alone.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Kay. Swan, I sent you a message on Discord. You don't have to check it now, but I just want to make sure you saw that. But Swan, land the plane. What you got?
Yes, first I want to say thank you to the 2 people that sent the CAs, Khaleesi and the other one. I don't know what their TikTok username is, but they said wisdom is important. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I think the one thing I want to say is, because I know we get really frustrated when things like that occur, but I also want to say, although it doesn't necessarily take away the impact, it is important for people to realize that the guest that was up here that was struggling to understand what we were trying to communicate in the moment is where a lot of people are, unfortunately, which is why I really, really think it's important that people are not just hearing this discussion, feeling it in the moment, and then, you put your phone down, you get off of TikTok, and none of this is really going to apply. Like, if this is something that you're impacted by, and understand that it's going to continue to impact all of us, but like, you have to actively seek out this information and education, and this is a full-time job. It's not a destination, it's a journey, and it's going to be an ongoing journey. If you have a person who's white who started their deconstructing process, I don't know, in, let's say, like the late 70s, obviously they're going to be much older now, right? But if they're not continuing on that journey, then they may not understand the prison industrial complex, and mass incarceration and how that's impacting Black people because of the changes that we've seen within laws, right? And how prisons function, right? So that's just one example of like why the journey is ongoing and why it's important, or understanding right now which I think they already knew the answer to their question. I just think they wanted to be included, but because that's something you could say too is like, well, why don't you answer your own question? She knew. But paying attention to things like that happening right now, the erasure of education, yes, that is a reinforcing of white supremacy. There's a constant maintenance to white supremacy that is happening every single day, right? So this is something, in order for you to really make a change and to want to see progression within society, then this is not just you coming to TikTok live panels and listening to the conversation. You have to put in that work, period. Otherwise, we'll just stay where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Swan, I will say that it has been an interesting week. There's been I think there's been some growth. I think there's been a lot of people interest that has been piqued. I think there's been some really good conversations. I think there's been some blind spots exposed. And I think more than anything, it's allowed people to hold a mirror up and reflect on a lot of different things. And I think that's like the most important thing, that we start to dig a little bit deeper and figure out how do we address those things. So I think that's been awesome.
I agree. I enjoyed this. I
Yeah,
do.
me
It's a
too.
nice change of pace from MySpace because it's the Wild Wild West over
My
there.
space, my computer. Hey, Swan. Really quick though, before we go, I got a special request to send you this. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. I didn't wait. There we go. Sorry, my math wasn't so mathy. Hold on. There we go. All right. Why didn't it do it? Why didn't it do it? Hold on. My bad. I messed up. I messed up, chat. I messed up on the math. Give me a second. I got it. Here we go. Don't boo me. And you talking about, no, boomer. I'm not a boomer. Whatever. I just messed up on the math a little bit. Hold on. Okay, don't do that. Stop. It's spinning. It's spinning. Just hold on for a second. It's not even me now. It's spinning. Hold on. Okay. Holy smokes. All right, we're good. We're good. There we go. Jeez Louise.
Thank you. That's so adorable. Thank you. That is so cool. Thank you
I
very
was
much.
not
I appreciate it.
struggling. You guys suck. You made me feel bad. That wasn't me. That was the math. Swan, seriously, I appreciate the heck out of you. Wait, did I send that to myself?
Wait, I don't think you can gift yourself. I don't think you can.
I
I
sent
don't
it
know.
from my backup account. I was trying to send it to you from. Hold on,
Oh,
Swan.
yep.
Jeez Louise, just what in the world? Hold on. Hold on. Ain't no way. That- Oh my god. Okay. I give up. I
Somebody
will
said
I will
Swan.
do it. I will send it from, holy smokes, how do I send it from here? Cause like what are we doing? Like why I see, hold on. That's
Thank
not
you,
it.
J Hobbs. That was so cool. Thank you.
I don't even see how I can send it from here. Swan, I'm gonna come to your live and send it to you, cause like, or I you know what? Forget it. Hold on. Like, what are we doing? I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna come to your live and send it. Thank you. She just sent fighter jets, but I meant to send the thing.
Thank you. Thank you for the jets. Thank you. Thank you. I do want to point out someone in the chat said Tana.
That's not funny. That's not even funny. You guys aren't even funny. Like I don't see anything funny about what you guys are saying right now.
Tana means you got wisdom. That's what that means.
Maybe. Hold on. Let me try something really quick, because I saw something earlier. Hold on. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hold on. Yeah, y'all not gonna be playing in my face like I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah. Okay. No, this will be worth it. This will be worth it. Just chill for a second. Y'all gotta let me cook. Just let me cook. I got this. I got this. I got this. I just actually, I want to double check one more time just to make sure I was on Swan this time. Okay.
Wow, that was so cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Let
That
me
is
cook.
so cool. So cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody.
Damn
Thank you.
technology. I ain't never been so embarrassed in my life, Swan.
Listen, we all have
She's
our
giving
moments.
secondhand embarrassment. Hey, Dennis sent another super chat and said that Dennis sent a $2 super chat, and Dennis said, you all are divorced from reality. I almost told Dennis to divorce something in his mouth, but I got told earlier that I got to stop telling old men that. So these nuts. I'm sorry, you were saying something, Swan?
Do you see the Tana profile that just scrolled into the chat and tagged me and said,
No, but I
hey.
will block them. I will literally block them. I will literally block them. Let me find out where. Yeah. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Get you right up out of here. Yep. Look at that. Boom. Get you right up out of here. We ain't got to worry about that one. We ain't got to worry about that one. We ain't got to worry about that one. All right, Swan. Not. Oh my God, my wife is my biggest op. Anything else from you, Swan? Oh my God.
You are now a legend. You got a Stan account. You are a legend.
Management. I blocked management immediately. Unblocked them. I swear she's my biggest op. Jeez. Swan. Anything else for the people?
I think the only other thing I would say is that the understanding and disregarding what Dennis said, because I mean Dennis is over here paying to be racist. Like, bro,
Yeah, Dennis is
I know you don't
crashing
understand
out.
it, but you paying to be racist, bro.
They
Like,
love doing
this
that,
is why.
Swan.
Right. No, literally. But that right there is a perfect example of how it backfires. This man is paying to be. He could have just came in the chat. He said, "I'm going to make sure I send some money so he can say this out loud." Dennis, let me just reach out to you and touch your hand with napkins and hand sanitizer in between and tell you that you're proving the point. Okay. That's all I got. Everybody else, please continue to educate yourself if you are truly invested in this, and understand that deconstructing these things only helps to progress a much better and healthier society in the future. So this is important. If you feel like this is important, then you have to put that work in. There's no magic, tool to any of this. You have to make sure you're educating yourself constantly. And that's it. That's all I got.
Did you see what Gucci just put in the chat?
Yes, I need like 10 minutes before I
So
go
she'll
live.
be
Like 10
she'll be
15.
live in an hour.
Not like not exactly. Wait, not exactly an hour. Is that Dennis right there saying I will? Oh no, they're saying that they will be doing the work. Okay, yeah, not an hour, less than an hour. At least I can guarantee less than 60 minutes. I just don't know how many minutes though.
All right, Swan. All right, cool. Swan, seriously.
Isn't time a social construct?
Time is I've been telling people
My
that.
ancestors
Listen,
didn't have to worry about time.
listen.
Okay.
If
we're gonna
I
reject white
promise you,
supremacy.
I promise you, I'm going to get people on board with that. Time is a social construct. It is a social construct. Why? We should not be constrained by time. It is a social construct.
Exactly. It's just to benefit capitalism and white supremacy. My ancestors didn't have to deal with this mess.
Yep. Well, time is white supremacy. And if you believe in time, then you're racist.
Exactly.
All right, Swan, I appreciate it. Seriously, I appreciate you coming, hanging out this week. I really appreciate all the hard work that you've done. I truly mean this. There's no way in the world I could have done this without you. And genuinely, I just thank you so much. I really mean that.
Of course. Thank you for having me up. It's always a pleasure. And I'm always willing to help out when I can. Whenever I can, I'm always willing to help out.
Absolutely. Also, whenever you get a moment, check the Discord message I sent you.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you. And thanks.
My bad, Swan. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. You can't cancel what won't cancel. You can't kill what won't die. Yeah, I am getting off. My grab 10 or whatever. Hey, guys, look. Before I go, really quick. You guys like my hat? Do you guys notice anything about my hat? Stop trying to focus, camera. You guys know anything about notice anything about my hat? It's new. My one of my older sisters I guess she was watching the live where I was talking about I left my hat at the restaurant, and like I was able to go back and get it, and I don't know if she knew or whatever, but she like texted me about a week or so ago, and she was like, "Hey, I'm sending you something." I was like, "What are you sending?" She's like, "Oh, it's a surprise," and I was like, "Oh, okay," and I kind of forgot about it, and I went and checked my mail today, and I was like, "What is this?" And I opened it up, and I went to my wife. I was like, "Hey, did you order this for me?" She was like, "No," and then I looked at the thing. I looked at the label, and on here it says for a gift, and it says, "Love you always, brother." This is my sister. I love my sister. So I got me a new red polo hat. Boom. Anyway, we're gonna call it. We're gonna get out of here, guys. It has been a heck of a week. We are over time, but it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. It was a great week. I'm looking forward to next week. We got some more work to do. Like I enjoyed this week. I appreciate this week. I'm not spoiled, Dwayne. What are you talking about? I'm not spoiled. I appreciated this week, And I think we did a lot of good work, but I think we have a lot more work to do. But I'm really proud that that I'm going to be doing the work with the people that we have in the community. You guys are amazing. Also, I had a meeting today, and we got some really, really big stuff coming. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff together. What up, Luke? We're going to be doing some really, really cool stuff. I can't say what. I can't tell you guys what yet. But it's going to be so cool. It's not merch, no. We're going to be doing a lot of good stuff for a lot of people. I'm so excited. All right, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this is the purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah.
Guys, it was a heck of a week. 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 I appreciate all of you. Seriously. I appreciate what we were able to get through this week. And I promise you we're going to be delivering a lot more. There's a couple of changes that are going to be coming because we want to make sure that we tighten this ship up. And there's so many people that didn't get an opportunity to come up and join the conversation and wanted to. And I promise you I'm going to figure something out. As this continues to grow, as we get more people in, continue to have these conversations, more people are going to want to join, and I'm going to figure it out. I'll figure it out. We'll get it together. We'll figure it out. But thank you for coming through with us throughout this week. I appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. I seriously mean that. Thank you all. Thank you for all the gifts, the taps, the likes, the shares. Thank you all for hanging out with us this evening. Thank you all for just being beautiful people, what you are. See you guys in the morning for sparring, and late nights will be back Sunday. I love you guys, and as always, peace.